I am Megan Wilson, 34 years old, and I never thought a Christmas party could shatter my family's facade forever. The fake smiles and holiday cheers hid the truth they had stolen from me years ago, and I was finally ready to strike back. After 6 years away, I returned with a plan armed with evidence of their betrayal, expecting the perfect moment to expose them. Instead, I faced the ultimate slap in the face that ignited everything. Everyone got gifts but me. Mom laughed, "Oh, we forgot you." They expected tears. I smiled. "It's okay, look what I got myself." The room fell silent when they saw it. Before I get to my story, I want to know what time you're listening and what city you're in. I'm happy to know how far my story spreads. My family had always dismissed me, the youngest and only daughter in our suburban Denver home, while my brothers were praised for every step my efforts were ignored. But the real knife came at 16 when Grandma left me a trust fund for college, $100,000. My parents secretly drained it to pay for my eldest brother's medical school, lying that the fund was tiny and only covered basics. I scraped by with jobs and loans, building my fintech startup in Las Vegas from nothing, a fraud detection app that sold for $650 million, netting me $250 million after shares and taxes. They never knew. When Mom called inviting me to the party, her voice too eager, I saw my chance. I prepared lavish gifts to lure them in, but carried something sharper: legal documents proving the theft. As the evening unfolded, their greed surfaced. They even hinted at needing my help with Dad's failing business. At gift time, their oversight handed me the trigger. Mom's laughed loudly. My brother joined in. I faintly and said, "It's okay. I didn't forget you." But when they opened my present, their smiles instantly faded. Growing up in suburban Denver was a constant reminder of where I stood in the family pecking order. As the youngest of 3 and the only girl, I watched my parents pour everything into my 2 older brothers while treating me like an afterthought. Our house in the quiet neighborhoods near the foothills was filled with their trophies and praise, but my space felt empty. My parents, Donna and Gary, set sky-high standards for all of us, but for me those standards were walls I could never climb. My eldest brother, Brandon, was their pride and joy. He followed Dad's advice to pursue medicine and got into a top program right out of high school. They celebrated his every milestone with family outings to the Rockies or dinners at fancy spots downtown. Justin, the middle one, showed early knack for business, starting a small venture in college that my parents funded without hesitation. They framed his first profit report and hung it in the living room like a masterpiece. Me, I was always the one chasing shadows. From elementary school on, I excelled in math and coding clubs, but it never registered. At 12, I won a regional math competition, rushing home with my certificate. Donna glanced at it while prepping dinner for Justin's business pitch practice. "That's cute, Megan," she said, not even pausing. Gary nodded from the couch, absorbed in Brandon's latest med school application updates. "Keep trying, kid." No party, no frame, just a pat on the back that felt like dismissal. It got worse in high school. While Brandon got a new car for his acceptance to med school and Justin a startup loan for his ideas, I grinded through advanced classes alone. Teachers praised my potential in tech, but at home it was, "Why can't you be more like your brothers? Brandon never slacked and Justin's already making money." I internalized it, pushing harder to prove myself, but the comparisons chipped away at me. Then came the betrayal that changed everything. At 16, Grandma passed away. She was the one person who saw me clearly, always encouraging my dreams. In her will, she left me a trust fund specifically for college, $100,000, enough for a top school without debt. I was thrilled, imagining it as my ticket out. But when the papers came, Donna and Gary sat me down. "The fund's smaller than we thought," Donna explained, her voice steady. "Only about $20,000 after fees, enough for community college or state school basics." Gary added, "We'll help with the rest if you pick something practical." I believed them. What choice did I have? So I applied to scholarships aggressively, landing a partial one at Columbia for computer science. To cover gaps, I worked 3 part-time jobs: waitressing at a diner near Coors Field, tutoring math after school, and stocking shelves at a local store on weekends. Weekends meant no social life. I studied in the back of the diner during breaks, surviving on coffee and determination. Loans piled up $50,000 by graduation, while I watched Brandon sail through med school debt-free and Justin expand his business with family backing. After Columbia, I moved to Las Vegas for an entry-level tech job, craving distance from Denver's suffocating expectations. The dry desert air felt like a fresh start, far from the snowy foothills. Communication dwindled to holiday cards and rare calls, always centered on my brother's wins, Brandon's residency, Justin's new office. They never asked about my struggles, the 80-hour weeks coding in a cramped apartment near the strip eating ramen to pay off loans, or the rejections from early investors who doubted a young woman in fintech. But I persisted, launching my startup, a fraud detection app that used AI to spot financial irregularities in real time. It started small, bootstrapped with my savings, but caught on with banks facing rising scams. Within 4 years, it secured major clients like credit unions and online lenders. The breakthrough came last year. A big tech firm acquired it for $650 million. After taxes and sharing equity with my team, I netted $250 million. With that, I founded the Wilson Foundation, focused on helping women recover from financial fraud, providing legal aid and startup grants. For years, I buried the hurt, focusing on building my life. But 2 years ago, curiosity led me to audit my finances deeply. I hired a financial advisor to review old records, including Grandma's estate. That's when the truth exploded. The trust fund was indeed $100,000, untouched by fees. Bank statements showed Donna and Gary had withdrawn it all shortly after Grandma's death, transferring it directly to Brandon's tuition account at his med school. Emails between them and the trustee, a family friend, confirmed the lie. "Tell Megan it's smaller. She'll understand," Donna wrote. Gary replied, "Better for the family this way. Brandon needs it more." The advisor laid it out. It was breach of fiduciary duty, potentially fraud, since they were custodians under state law. Rage hit me like a Vegas heat wave. I paced my condo overlooking the strip, fists clenched, realizing how their theft had forced my hardships. The jobs, the debt, the isolation, it all stemmed from that deception. They robbed my future to boost Brandon's, then gaslit me into thinking it was fate. In that moment, something snapped. I wasn't the overlooked sister anymore. I was a woman with power and proof. No more waiting for apologies that would never come. I decided then I'd use their invitation to the Christmas party as the stage for justice. The evidence folder grew, copies of statements, emails, even a timeline from the advisor. As I prepared, anger fueled my resolve, turning pain into a sharpened blade. This wasn't just revenge, it was reclaiming what was mine, and they had no idea what was coming. 2 months ago, my mother Donna called out of the blue, her voice dripping with a warmth I hadn't heard in years. "Megan, we're having a big Christmas party at the house this year," she said, almost too enthusiastic. "Your brothers will be there, the kids, even Aunt Pamela. We'd love to see you." The invitation caught me off guard, stirring a mix of suspicion and opportunity. After 6 years of near silence, why now? My gut screamed. It wasn't about family love. Dad's real estate business had been tanking, rumors of debts floating through old Denver contacts. But I played along, my voice steady. "Sure, Mom, I'll come." As I hung up the evidence folder on my desk, bank statements, emails, timelines from Grandma's trust felt heavier. This was my shot to turn their lie into their undoing. I didn't waste time. I called my lawyer friend Alex Carter, a sharp litigator I'd met during a fraud case my startup tackled in Vegas. Over coffee at a strip cafe, I laid out the betrayal, the $100,000 trust fund stolen for Brandon's tuition, the lies about its size, the years I clawed through debt. Alex's eyes narrowed as he flipped through the documents. "This is textbook breach of fiduciary duty," he said. "With these statements and emails, you've got a solid case for fraud. Colorado law gives you time since you just discovered it." He agreed to dig deeper, pulling bank records and trustee correspondence to tighten the noose. By the next week, he had a full dossier, signed withdrawals by Donna and Gary, an email from Gary to the trustee saying, "Make sure Megan thinks it's gone." Every page fueled my fire. The plan took shape. I'd go to the party, play the dutiful daughter, and let their guard drop. Then during gift time, I'd spring the trap, reveal my success to soften them up, then hit with the lawsuit papers exposing their theft in front of everyone, Aunt Pamela included. Alex warned it could get messy, but I wanted messy. They'd lied to me for 18 years. I wanted their shame public, their reputation in Denver's tight-knit circles ruined. To sell the act, I needed gifts, lavish ones to mirror their greed. For Donna, I picked a $4,000 pearl necklace, a nod to Grandma's favorite jewelry she'd once promised me. The irony wasn't lost on me, buying her what she stole my chance to have. For Gary, a $6,000 vintage Rolex, a jab at the time they took from my future. For Brandon and his wife, Angela, I booked a $15,000 Hawaii trip for their family. His kids, Kayla and Taylor, would love it, but it screamed of the luxury he'd gained at my expense. For Justin, whose business ventures always got Dad's cash, I prepared a $40,000 investment check, framed as support but laced with the sting of their neglect. Each gift was wrapped with care, a glittering mask for the bomb I'd drop. I spent weeks planning with Alex, rehearsing every step. He drafted the lawsuit papers, ready to file the moment I gave the word. We mapped out the reveal. I'd show a video of my Vegas office, my fintech deal, my ocean view home to set the stage. Then, when they least expected it, I'd pull out the dossier naming names and dates. Alex even suggested recording the moment discreetly for court leverage, but I wanted their faces to burn in real time, no camera needed. The week before Christmas, I booked a first-class flight from Vegas to Denver. As the plane descended, the Rockies loomed outside, a stark reminder of the home I'd fled. At Denver International, I picked up a rented Mercedes sedan, a sleek black model that screamed success. Loading the wrapped gifts into the trunk, I felt a surge of control. This wasn't the broke teenager they'd dismissed. This was Megan Wilson, armed and ready. The drive from the airport took an hour along I-70, the familiar peaks of the Rockies flashing by. I passed the exit for Red Rocks Amphitheater, where I'd gone to concerts as a kid dreaming of a bigger life. The turnoff to our old suburb came up lined with holiday lights and manicured lawns. My parents' house, a sprawling two-story with a stone facade, hadn't changed, still the picture of upper-middle-class perfection hiding the rot inside. As I pulled into the driveway behind Brandon's Audi and Justin's pickup, my pulse quickened. The gifts sat heavy in the trunk, but the dossier in my bag felt heavier. I adjusted my coat, checked the folder one last time, and stepped out. The cold Denver air hit my face, but inside, I was burning. I'd spent years building my empire, not for their approval, but for this moment to make them face what they'd done. As I walked up the path, the doorbell within reach, I gripped the folder tighter. The trap was set, and they had no idea the reckoning waiting on the other side of that door. I rang the doorbell, the familiar chime echoing through my parents' Denver home. The door swung open, and my mother, Donna, stood there in a red holiday dress, her smile polished but thin. "Megan," she said, her tone more formal than warm. "You made it." No hug, just a quick nod as she stepped aside. I clutched the stack of wrapped gifts, the dossier tucked in my bag, and forced a smile. "Wouldn't miss it, Mom." My father, Gary, appeared from the living room, his tie loose, looking older than I remembered. "Good to see you, kid," he said, offering a stiff handshake. His eyes flicked to the Mercedes outside. "Nice car. Expensive." "Rental," I replied, keeping it light. The foyer smelled of pine and roasted turkey, the house decked out with tasteful wreaths and twinkling lights, no tacky inflatables for the Wilsons. Laughter spilled from the living room, and my eldest brother Brandon emerged with his wife Angela. She gave a polite wave, her designer sweater screaming suburban wealth. Their daughters, Kayla and Taylor, peeked out curious. "Aunt Megan," Kayla chirped, clearly coached. Brandon gave a half smile. "Vegas treating you well, sis." His tone carried a hint of sizing me up. "Pretty well," I said, dodging details. Justin, my other brother, sauntered in with a beer, his casual grin more genuine but still distant. "Long time, Megan," he said, offering a quick hug. Aunt Pamela, Mom's cousin, bustled over, her loud laugh cutting through. "Well, look who's back from the desert," she exclaimed, her earrings jangling. I nodded, keeping my cool, but their half-hearted welcomes felt like a prelude to something colder. I set the gifts under the towering Christmas tree, their shiny papers standing out against the coordinated red and gold packages. The living room buzzed with extended family, cousins, neighbors, but the focus stayed on Brandon's latest hospital promotion and Justin's new business deal. Dinner was served in the dining room, the long mahogany table set with Mom's heirloom china. Donna had outdone herself, turkey, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, the works. But the mood was strained, like everyone was playing a part. Conversation swirled around me, not with me. Donna bragged about Brandon's new role as department head, pouring him more wine. "Youngest in the hospital's history," she said, beaming. Angela chimed in about Kayla's ballet recital and Taylor's preschool art award. Gary perked up when Justin mentioned closing a deal for his startup. "That's my boy," he said, clapping Justin's shoulder. I waited for an opening to share my life, but every attempt got drowned out. "I've been working on some big projects too." I started, but Donna cut in. "Oh, Angela, tell Megan about the charity auction you hosted." The dismissal stung, but I bit my tongue, biding my time. Taylor, the 4-year-old, tugged my sleeve during a lull. "Aunt Megan, do you make games in Vegas?" Her big eyes were the only genuine curiosity in the room. I smiled. "Not games, sweetie, software that catches bad guys stealing money." She nodded, impressed. "Like police?" "Kinda," I said, grateful for her warmth. But the adults barely noticed their chatter, locked on my brother's wins. Then came the twist I hadn't expected. After dessert, I excused myself to the kitchen for a glass of water, lingering near the pantry door. Through the crack, I overheard Donna and Gary whispering. "She's got money now, right?" Donna said, her voice low. "That car, her clothes, she could help with the business." Gary grunted. "Yeah, the bank's breathing down my neck. We just need a loan, maybe 50 grand to tide us over. My stomach twisted. They hadn't invited me for family. They wanted a bailout for Dad's failing real estate deals tied to shady loans I'd heard about through old Denver contacts. I slipped back to the table, heart pounding but face calm. This was better than I'd planned. Their greed was the perfect setup for my trap. I leaned toward Gary during a pause. Dad, I heard the market's been tough. Need any help with the business? His eyes lit up too quick. Well, we're managing, but maybe we could talk later. I nodded, feigning concern, but inside I was locking the bait. Let them think I'd open my wallet, they'd be blindsided when I opened the dossier instead. As dinner wrapped, Donna clapped her hands. Time for gifts, she announced, her voice bright but calculated. The kids squealed, racing to the tree while the adults settled in the living room. I watched Aunt Pamela sip her wine, oblivious to the storm brewing. Brandon and Justin exchanged smirks, probably expecting another round of praise. I adjusted my bag, the dossier's weight grounding me. My gifts sat under the tree, their shiny wrapping hiding the irony. I'd play their game, hand out my presents, let them bask in their greed, then pull the rug out. The kids tore into their packages, first Kayla squealing over a new tablet, Taylor hugging a stuffed unicorn. The adults started exchanging their gifts, laughter filling the room. I sat back, pulse steady, watching the pile shrink. My moment was coming. I caught Donna's eye, her smile smug like she'd already won. She had no clue I was about to flip the script. As the last gifts were handed out, I gripped my bag tighter, ready to spring the trap I'd spent weeks crafting. Donna stood by the Christmas tree, her smile commanding as she took charge of the gift exchange. Kids first, she declared, handing Kayla and Taylor their packages. The girls tore into them, squealing over a coding kit for Kayla and an interactive globe for Taylor. Thanks, Aunt Megan, Taylor chirped, hugging me. I smiled, but my focus was on the adults, their eyes gleaming with anticipation for their own haul. The room buzzed with chatter, cousins, neighbors, Aunt Pamela sipping her wine, oblivious to the storm I was about to unleash. One by one, Donna passed out gifts. Gary got a cashmere scarf from Brandon, Angela a designer purse from Justin. The pile dwindled, wrapping paper piling up, but nothing came my way. My brothers exchanged their gifts, golf gear for Brandon, a fancy pen for Justin. Aunt Pamela handed out gift cards, earning polite thanks. I sat quietly, bag at my side, the dossier's weight steadying me. The oversight was no surprise. I'd expected it. But when the last package was handed out and the tree stood bare, a heavy silence fell. Kayla broke it, her voice small. Where's Aunt Megan's present? All eyes turned to me, some curious, some uncomfortable. Donna let out a sharp laugh. Oh, we forgot you, she said, waving a hand like it was a trivial slip. Justin chuckled, adding, Yeah, Megan, guess you're too hard to shop for. Their laughter cut deep, but I kept my face neutral, heart racing. This was the moment I'd planned for. They expected tears, maybe a scene. Instead, I smiled faintly. It's okay. I didn't forget you, look what I got myself. I pulled out my phone, opened a sleek video, and hit play on the TV screen via AirPlay. The room went quiet as images filled the screen. My Las Vegas office, a modern glass building with my company's logo, Wilson Fraud Detection, blazing across the front. Clips followed of me signing a $650 million acquisition deal, shaking hands with bank CEOs, my Ocean View condo with a rooftop deck. This is my fintech startup, I said calmly. We built AI software to catch financial fraud. It sold last year for $650 million, netting me $250 million after taxes. Gas rippled through the room. Donna's wine glass froze mid-sip. Gary's jaw tightened and Justin's smirk vanished. I swiped to another clip showing the Wilson Foundation's headquarters, where we funded women recovering from financial scams. This is my foundation, I continued, voice steady. We've helped 50 women with legal aid and startup grants, recognized by Inker magazine as a top new charity. Brandon's eyes widened, Angela shifted uncomfortably, and Aunt Pamela muttered, Well, I'll be damned. Their stunned faces were satisfying, but I wasn't done. The real gift was coming. I reached into my bag, pulling out a thick folder. But I have a Christmas gift for you too, Dad, I said, locking eyes with Gary. I slid the dossier across the coffee table, papers spilling out, bank statements, emails, withdrawal records from Grandma's trust. It's a lawsuit for the $100,000 you and Mom stole from my trust fund 18 years ago. The room froze. Donna's smile collapsed, her face paling. You took it for Brandon's tuition. I continued, voice cold. Lied to me about its size, forced me into debt while he got a free ride. I pointed to the documents. These show your withdrawals, your emails to the trustee. Tell Megan it's smaller. You thought I'd never find out. Gary stammered. Megan, let's talk privately. Donna jumped in. You're blowing this out of proportion. But Aunt Pamela's gas cut through her eyes, darting to the papers. Brandon, red-faced, muttered, I didn't know the details, Megan, I swear. Justin stayed silent, avoiding my gaze. No private talks, I said, standing. You stole my future, made me scrape by with loans and 3 jobs while you celebrated Brandon's success. You even planned to use me tonight for Dad's debts. I nodded at Donna. I heard you in the kitchen, 50 grand to tide you over. Their panic was electric. Gary's hands shook, Donna's voice cracked, begging, Megan, please, we're family. But I was done with their excuses. You laughed when you forgot me, I said, grabbing my bag. Now you can laugh at this. I left the dossier on the table, evidence glaring under the Christmas lights. As I walked out, their voices erupted, Donna yelling at Gary, Brandon pleading ignorance, Aunt Pamela demanding answers. I stepped into the cold Denver night, the Mercedes waiting. Their chaos faded behind me, but the fire in my chest burned bright. I'd sprung the trap and there was no going back. As I drove away from the Denver house that Christmas night, the chaos of my family's shouting faded behind the hum of the Mercedes engine. Their faces, Donna's panic, Gary's trembling hands, Brandon's weak denials burned in my mind, but I felt no regret. The dossier I'd left on the table was a ticking bomb, and I was done waiting for apologies that would never come. By the time I reached the airport, I'd already texted Alex, my lawyer, file the lawsuit tomorrow. In January, we submitted the case to Denver's civil court, breach of fiduciary duty and fraud, backed by the ironclad evidence, bank statements, emails, trustee records proving Donna and Gary siphoned my $100,000 trust fund for Brandon's tuition 18 years ago. The process moved fast. By March, the court ruled in my favor. I won back the full $100,000 plus $50,000 in interest and legal fees totaling $150,000. The judge didn't mince words, a deliberate deception against a minor beneficiary. The victory felt clean, final. The fallout was bigger than I'd imagined. A local Denver paper picked up the story. Headlines screamed, prominent family sued for trust fund theft. Gary's real estate business, already teetering, collapsed entirely when clients pulled out, spooked by the scandal. Donna's social standing in their suburban circle evaporated. Her charity board memberships vanished overnight. Brandon faced an ethics review at his hospital, his complicity in knowing about the theft tainting his golden boy reputation. Aunt Pamela, shocked at the party, spread the word to extended family, amplifying their disgrace. Justin sent a text a week later mumbling some half-hearted apology. Didn't know it was that bad, sis. I didn't reply. I blocked their numbers, Donna, Gary, Brandon, Justin, all of them. No more calls, no more guilt trips. I was done. Back in Las Vegas, I threw myself into the Wilson Foundation. We expanded our program, funding 20 more women with legal aid to fight financial fraud, drawing from my own story. My condo overlooking the Strip became my sanctuary, its sleek lines and ocean view vibe a reminder of what I'd built without them. The money from the lawsuit went straight to the foundation, turning their theft into something meaningful. I didn't need their validation anymore. I had my own. Reflecting on it now, I see the lesson clear as day. Family betrayal cuts deepest, but you don't heal by forgiving and forgetting, you heal by facing it head-on with justice. I spent years thinking their dismissal defined me, that I had to prove my worth to them. But their lies, their greed showed me the truth. My value isn't tied to their approval. It's in the empire I built, the lives I'm changing, the strength I found to hold them accountable. They stole my trust fund, my future, but they couldn't steal my resolve. If you're out there wondering if family has crossed, you don't just sit with the hurt. Dig for evidence, bank records, emails, anything concrete. Talk to a lawyer, build your case, and don't let blood ties stop you from demanding what's right. Toxic family will drain you if you let them. Cut those ties and protect your peace. You're worth more than their excuses, and no one gets to define you but you. Thank you for listening to my story. It's not just about revenge, it's about reclaiming what's yours. If this hit home, subscribe, like, and drop a comment with your own story. Have you ever had to stand up to family to find your worth? I want to hear about it. As I stood on my condo's rooftop that spring, the Vegas skyline glittering below, I smiled. The lawsuit was won, their world was in ruins, and I was free. Justice wasn't just served, it was mine to claim, and I'd never look back.